It can be quite stressful when a major change is underway in your life. And that's exactly what is happening to me right now. Hello everyone, my name is Zach and welcome to On Cash Flow, where I help you become a master of your own cash flow. Now let's get started. You might be asking, why is my asset allocation a mess right now? Well, the short answer to that is that I am going to be moving soon. My plan is to turn my primary residence, the house that I'm in right now, into my third rental property. I'm going to be putting about $30,000 of work into this house, making it all nice and good and ready to rent out. And then after all the renovations are done, my plan is to cash out refinance on this house before I rent it out. And of course, that also means that I'm going to have to be looking for my next primary residence as well. And if you've been following my channel for any amount of time, you may know that my primary residence, I paid cash for it back in December of 2020 for $110,000. That was my purchase price. You may also know that housing prices have exploded since then, including in the area that I'm living in. So the house value is a lot more than it was before. Well, everything costs a lot more than it was before, but that's a whole nother story. And by the way, just for more context, I have another video that I previously made where I revealed my asset allocation, like where all of my money was based on my net worth. So I'm going to mention that video again at the end of this video, so stay to the end if you want to watch that video as well. Now let's get into the juicy stuff here. So I'm going to be actually giving you a net worth update in this video. So let's see where my money is right now, even while it's kind of a mess. Keep in mind that net worth at any given time is kind of arbitrary because it changes as things change in value. But here's what it was when I made this outline. I had assets worth $979,600. Of that, personal cash was $7,000. Business cash is currently $16,300. And that's a little high because, of course, I'm going to be using that cash to pay for the renovations in this house. My stocks were worth $551,000. My primary residence, I'm putting it at $170,000 before renovations. And by the way, before I was using Zillow's median estimate for the home value, but since I am going to be cash out refinancing that, there are going to be closing costs. So I need to deduct some of the value of those closing costs from what the home value is because I'm actually going to be making that change soon. So I decided to be a little bit more conservative and put the value at $170,000. Then I have $229,000 of ownership interest in 2 rental properties, and my vehicle, the low end estimate of Kelley Blue Book, is about $6,300. That's the lowest private party value, just to be a little bit more conservative. So if you were to add up all of those assets, which I did, that is $979,600. However, we know that when we're calculating our net worth, we don't only take our assets, we also need to subtract our liabilities. Now, I do have some debt. I didn't pay cash for those rental properties, and so I hold mortgages on them, and so that's where the majority of my debt is. And some bonus debt that I'm gonna reveal to you right now, which I'm not too happy about, but I'm gonna fix it soon. I currently have $205,600 of liabilities. Of that, the mortgages, they add up to $174,100. And then there's some new liabilities that I just added to my balance sheet. And this is the main reason on why my asset allocation is a mess right now. I took out a margin loan in order to renovate this property before I cash out refinance it. Now, this is not something that I would suggest, generally speaking, that people do. But sometimes you just gotta live life on the edge. Okay, maybe it's not that serious, but take a look at this. I have a margin loan with a current outstanding balance of $31,500. And I'm gonna be using that to pay for the renovations in this home before I do a cash out refinance. Now we can take the total amount of assets minus the total amount of liabilities. And that would indicate that my current net worth when I made this outline was $774,000. Not too bad. Now let's go ahead and expand a little bit more on that net worth. I got some pretty good, key notes for you to keep in mind. The margin loan is the amount that I'm going to be using to help renovate this property. All right, my primary residence, and then it's going to become a rental property. And the margin loan is currently what I used in order to pay for those renovations. And that's the reason why on my assets portion, my business cash is relatively high compared to my personal cash, because some of that money is still in there from the margin loan. Now it is a little bit risky whenever you are talking about taking out a loan, right? Especially when you're taking out a margin loan, because a margin loan is a loan against your current investments. And since I still have a relatively sizable taxable investment account, I'm able to access a line of credit that is relatively high. However, the reason why I decided to do it that way is that I didn't want to cash out $30,000 worth of my investments all at once in order to pay for the home, since I am planning on refinancing it and basically pulling that cash out. So I didn't want to sell that much investments all at once in order to pay for it and then kind of replenish it all at once the cash is out. Instead, what I plan on doing is slowly take out more from my assets to help pay that margin loan down. And then once I get the cash out from the refinance, then pay it all off with that cash. In the meantime, I will have an interest expense from that margin loan because they're not giving me the money for free, unfortunately. And with the rates that they are now, the federal funds rate, it is a relatively high amount of interest, but I think it's going to pay out in the long run. And for me personally, I felt better doing that rather than cashing out my investments all at once in order to pay for the renovations. Because I plan on doing that cash out refinance within the next few months, the home value after the renovations should be more than what it currently is. Right now, I'm valuing it at $170,000, and then I'm going to be putting about $30,000 of renovation costs into the home, and that includes many things like a brand new HVAC system. It includes a brand new roof. The deck is going to be all redone and stained and look really nice. I have a retaining wall for the house that's going to be all redone, and I'm going to get some brand new flooring in some of the rooms and stuff. So there's going to be some pretty nice upgrades to the home. My after repair value is estimated to be about $200,000. $200,000 is what I'm expecting it to appraise for after all the renovations are complete. And then I will get a loan based on that new value. So if I am able to get a 80% loan to value on that new $200,000 appraised value, then I would get a loan of about $160,000. So that would be my plan for how much cash I would get out of the house. And then I would rent it out, and that rent would be used to help pay for the new mortgage that's on the house. Once all of that gets done, hopefully my asset allocation will not be a mess anymore because I'll have that cash out. I'll be able to adjust my net worth based on the new appraised value. I'll have a brand new appraisal and say, okay, this is about how much the home is worth. Then I can use that cash out to pay off that margin loan so that I don't have to have it anymore. And since I will be getting about hopefully $160,000 of cash out minus the margin loan when I balance, I'll still have a good amount to help pay for my next primary residence. And yes, unfortunately, I won't be able to pay cash for my next primary residence, but I do have another plan in order to turn that home from a liability into an asset, and more on that to come in the next few months. But really quick, I just want to say that I am putting everything out there for you, right? I'm revealing some of the juiciest details when it comes to my personal finances, and I really hope that you appreciate that. And if you do appreciate that, please make sure that you hit the like button on this video because I would really appreciate that, and it really does help me out. All right, now one very important thing that I want to mention here is that we calculated my net worth in the traditional sense, all assets minus all liabilities. But that is not the same net worth that I use when I'm talking about my FIRE number or when I'm talking about withdrawing for financial independence. So right now I am retired early and I am partially living off of my investments. And the other portion that I'm living off is my other side income that I have, such as this YouTube channel, which isn't very much. But the point is, when it comes to the portion of my net worth that I'm using for my asset withdrawals, the only amount that I'm using for that is my liquid net worth to count towards my FIRE number. When I made this outline, the current value of my stock portfolio was $551,000. That is my FIRE net worth, and that is the amount that I use for my asset withdrawals. Right now, my current strategy, since I am Barista-Fi, since I have other income sources besides just my investments, I am using a 3% withdrawal rate, and I am using the percentage of portfolio withdrawal rate, which means that I don't adjust upwards for inflation every single year. I adjust my withdrawals based on what my current portfolio value is at. So applying that to my $551,000 of current value, if I were to take one withdrawal per year, I would take 3% of $551,000. And as far as my current asset allocation with my liquid investments is concerned, I am currently 100% stocks, and I have two different funds. I have 82% VTI, which is Vanguard's total stock market index for US stocks, and I have 18% VXUS, which is Vanguard's total international stock market index fund. My target allocation is about 80-20. So of course that is going to drift slightly up or down, but it is still pretty close to my 80-20 targeted allocation. With that out of the way, I want to share with you how I'm going to fix my asset allocation over the next few months. Step 1. Finish my home renovations. Get that value of this home to about $200,000 hopefully. Step 2. Get a cash out refinance mortgage on this property and pull a majority of the equity out, hopefully around 80% of $200,000, and then pay off that margin loan completely. Step 3, find my next primary residence and use my VA loan benefit to purchase that residence. And I'm going to be turning that residence into an asset. More on that to come. Step 4, turn this property into my third rental and use that rental income to help pay off that mortgage over time. And that leads me to the big question I want to know from you in the comments below. What do you think about this whole situation? Do you think that my asset allocation is a mess? Do you think that my plan is good? Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think it's a bad idea? Do you think I'm doomed? Please let me know in the comments below. I'm really curious to hear what you have to say. And like I mentioned before, you definitely need to check out this other video that I made where I revealed my asset allocation so you can see why it is a mess now compared to what it was before. Okay, that video is going to pop up right on the screen after I get off the screen, and I'll put it in a link in the description below and in the pinned comment below. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm Zach from OnCashflow.com, and I hope to see you next time. so I don't have to have. So of course that is going to slip. I am revealing some of the